If I missed anyone or anything, I'm sorry. It was a complete ramble. If you just want to hear the music, fast forward till you don't see my ugly face. So, quarantine tapes. I started this project kind of when quarantine started, which is why I nicknamed them the quarantine tapes. What it really was it was me trying to get everything we've ever done together uh, for the band, for us all to have. Uh, we started this thing 20 years ago. Some of us have known each other for over 30 years, basically everybody but Rick. So we really grew up together. We've known each other. We've been like family forever. And I just wanted everybody to have uh, all of the songs that we had ever done, all of the projects together so that they had them for posterity. Um, Once I started doing all that, I kind of realized that there is this extended outside family, all of the Raider clan who always supported us, all of the people who came out to see us, the Travis, the Buddy. These people came out to see us week after week for years. I mean, and we really appreciated and spent a lot of time with them, and they became kind of that secondary extended family. We always had Gayla and Brianna and Alicia were always at the shows, and we grew up together. We've all grown up together. Most of us have known each other since we were teenagers. I mean, and young teenagers. We're talking like 13, 14 years old. So we really did grow up together. I just wanted kind of everybody to go, hey, look back, see kind of where everything was, maybe have a smile, hopefully, uh, and be able to enjoy and maybe reminisce a little bit. We recorded all these things on our own, so they're not going to sound the greatest. Back in the day when we started this, we had one of the first recording interfaces that was around. I mean, it wasn't like today where you could jump on YouTube and watch 10 million videos on how to mix and everything else. Uh, Back then, we were really just kind of winging it. We were figuring it out as we go. So much so, the whole first album was recorded in mono. We didn't even know enough to pan left and right or to overdub or anything like that. So there's some real up and down in the through the project that you'll be able to hear between kind of the shop tapes, which would be kind of that Blue Album years, the basement tapes, which would be kind of that Green Album type of years, and then like the closet tapes, which would be like the Red Album. There's so many things that we did wrong along the line, recording wise. But we did it. We did it all on our own. We did it all on our own because that's kind of the way we wanted to do it, and it gave us time to kind of flesh things out and that kind of stuff. But in the process, it doesn't sound as good as it could, which is okay. It's going to be more of a basement tape type of feel. All of the songs are kind of more basement tapey. They're never going to have that glossy, radio ready type of sound. It's all going to be kind of, where it is, and that's fine. That's great. It's going to kind of hopefully take everybody back to kind of that time when they came out, when they were recorded, and kind of where they were at, what we were doing, all that kind of stuff. Now we all have kids, and our kids are the age, they're older than we were when we started this project. Drake is over there in Chasing Chance doing their shows now, releasing stuff that sounds better than sonically better than most of the stuff that we recorded ever. And I'm super proud of him, and I know Brian and everybody else is too. If you have a chance, go check them out. I'll put a link down in the description. Go listen to the music, go see their shows. They're really great, but they grew up, well, Drake grew up, kind of in this aura, in this whatever of us just, banging things out, doing shows on the weekends, recording things in the basement. I'm sure he's heard all of this stuff 9 million times. My kids are the same way. My kids used to sit upstairs and dance around while we were shaking the house, when we were recording in the basement. And there's been all of these developments since we became a band. There's been, we all had kids, and now our kids are growing up and not quite yet having kids yet, but they're not far off, and then there's, we've gotten married, we've lost, we've loved, we've everything. Dave, Gabe, John, Brian, Rick, they've all been really great friends. We've all kind of, I know that there's two phases of the band, but we all really, at least me personally, I love those guys. They could call me up tomorrow and say, hey, I need you, and I'd be right there. I've known them forever. I've known everybody but Rick, at least going on 33, 34 years. I mean, it's been a long time, and it's been a long journey for everybody. And I just, I really want everybody to know how much that time meant to us. But in that process, I also realized that, there's this external Wicked Me family of all of the Raider clan and the wives that put up with us doing shows and having to go to shows every weekend and spending all that time together as a band. We used to do 3 and 4 times a week sometimes, and then play shows on the weekend on top of that. So, or 1 or 2 shows on a weekend. And it took a lot of time. It took a lot of whatever for everybody. And I just want all of the wives, Deanna, and Holly especially, because they were the two that were kind of there, and Amanda. They were kind of the 3 that were there the whole time around and had to put up with our bullshit. I had to put up with waiting around on us to go to places, or no, we can't go out this weekend because we have to do this weekend. And we spent a lot of time together. We lived together in kind of a bubble, and it was great, and I wouldn't change any of it for the world. And I love those guys. Me and Brian back in the day, we're like Anthony and Flea. I mean, we talked, even if we weren't practicing 3 times a day, we'd be writing stuff, or we'd be just calling each other to bullshit. Gabe was my neighbor. I mean, and those were the early guys. And then John was my stepbrother. I mean, so I've known him probably longer than I've even known everybody else, which is kind of shocking, since I've known most of these people most of my life. And it's, I wanted to do something for all of them. And in that process, I wanted to do something for everybody, or anybody who's interested in going back and listening to this stuff and kind of having a good smile. Some of it you may not even remember. And some of it is probably going to be kept just for us. There are songs that were never released but were recorded kind of in the writing process. There's versions. There's like now 4 or 5 versions of Freak Alone. So there's versions that won't be out there that I wanted kind of all of us to have, but not kind of the world to have. And this is kind of that introduction to whatever. All of these videos aren't going to be as long-winded as this one, because this one is just, it's kind of an introduction. It's kind of the, here's why I did this thing. If you want to skip, this is pretty late, but if you want to skip, just fast forward till you don't see my ugly face anymore, and you can hear the music. I did little, they're not even videos. I did little whatever behind it just so that there's something to watch while the music is going. Don't look into them. Don't whatever. They're just something visual to look at in the process of everything going on. They kind of go with the songs, I guess. I did it all the way up to the Rat album because I've still been remixing that one, and I need to kind of make sure that it's where me and Brian want it, and everybody else would be happy with it. So that's kind of where that's at. But in that process, I said I have all of this other shit, so let's start getting that shit out there. It originally wasn't really meant for the general public or whatever, but my thought process was we've released all of these things before. We've released all of these songs. We've either played them live or they're on GarageBand, or they were on Reverb, or they were on MySpace. That should tell you how long this has been going on. They were on MySpace, they were on Facebook, they were whatever. So the things that I'm going to let you guys hear or play is going to be kind of all of that stuff that's already been out there and that everybody's always heard. It hasn't been remixed. It hasn't been anything else. Anything that's going to be remixed or that we haven't done or haven't let everybody listen to, that stuff where I'm going to hold back at least until I get an okay or whatever to and people agree that okay, you can do this because that's the way it works. It's not a president, or it's a democracy. It's always been a democracy, at least between a few of us. With that being said, we're going to start off with King Shit, only because that was kind of the first song that we all wrote together. We brought over Daddy's Girl and played Daddy's Girl for years, but that was kind of that Dante's Inferno days when we wrote that. So I'm going to start with something that we actually wrote with Wicked Me. I'm going to kind of start at the beginning. The beginning stuff obviously isn't going to sound as good as the later stuff. And like I said, there's going to be peaks and valleys here because there's a lot of inconsistency as far as mixing wise and song wise and everything else. There are 3 songs that I've re-recorded or am in the process of re-recording. I need to get off my ass and set up a vocal booth, which we've talked about for like 3 or 4 years, to get to try and get Brian to come over and do vocals on new vocals for Freak, Inside of Me, and SOS, which are my 3 favorite songs, but also 3 of the songs that we went through a real trebly phase, which you guys will hear later on. Or I went through a big trebly phase where all of the mixes they're very harsh. They're very harsh. That's the only way I know how to put it. There's a lot of high end in there, and they're almost indistinguishable. You almost can't understand what the hell's going on. At least I can't. So that kind of, those were always my 3 favorite songs, but those songs also fell inside of that harsh window. Looking back, I don't know, should have taken more time, should have whatever. But a lot of that stuff was done, not even in Pro Tools, which we use now, but it was done way back when on like this Cakewalk thing that doesn't even really exist anymore. So I can't even go back and I've lost hard drives and everything else. So I can't go back to the original files and remix everything, which I wish I could, but I just can't. But I do have the remnants of whatever and the audio files from back then, or not the complete audio files, but I have the mixed down versions of them, I should say. But unfortunately, they have all of the crap on them that, I'll admit it, I screwed some of that shit up. And it kind of bums me out because I think a lot of these songs were really good, but they're not going to always get looked at maybe in the best light because of my shitty mixing skills or my whatever. And that's on me. Can't blame anybody else. I always thought Brian was an amazing singer, and it bums me out that some of that stuff isn't going to sound as good as it could. So it's not going to kind of showcase him or showcase the songs. You know, I mean, we all worked really hard. We were all excited about it at the time. We thought it sounded good at the time. I don't know, you know, but they're listenable. They're not going to sound probably as horrible as I'm making them out to be, because I've heard these things 9 billion times, and I can sit down and tell you where every mistake is, and I can tell you where everything is, and that's great. But when I listen to them now, and I hope when everybody else listens to them, they kind of go, I remember this. I remember these days. I remember going to see these guys live. I remember spending the time writing the songs. I remember where we were at when we kind of started this whole thing. And hopefully that's kind of where it goes. And that's kind of how everybody looks at everything in the end. It really is kind of a love letter to everyone. You know, there's been a lot of people involved, not band members wise. That's been relatively small, but there's been a lot of people that have helped us along the way, and I want to say thank you. And I want to say thank you to everybody who ever came out to see us. And you know, you guys were always like an extended family as well. I mean, and a lot of you were family, and we always greatly appreciated it. We always loved seeing everybody. Yeah, so we're going to start with King Shit, because like I said, that's kind of where we started. And then I don't know how often I'll do these, but they won't be as long and winded as this one, because this one is kind of that initial start. I kind of wanted to explain what I was doing here. So there we go. King Shit.